So this is a Joey Avocado tree, which is a Mexican variety, and these are cold tolerant avocados. They're very oil rich and they're actually very delicious. But they will take cold. As you can see, this is a younger one. It's not fully mature yet. It doesn't have a thick trunk on it. When they get about 4 inches in diameter, then the cold tolerance will really start showing. We had a probably 19-degree freeze for many hours. We had several nights of freeze in a row. One was 22 for close to 12 hours. It was under 26 degrees. That's pretty cold for these guys. They can go down to 19 or even 15 degrees, a lot of these Mexican varieties, and be okay. They can survive. That doesn't mean that they won't die back or that they won't, they may not fruit this year. This one is unlikely to fruit. So we watered this plant the first night with a tube that sprinkled water on the lower part of this plant. It only went about 3 feet up. And you don't really want to water the whole thing because we got a lot of icicles on it, and the icicles would weigh it down and could break off branches and other things. So we just keep it low, and the water, actually the heat rises from the water and keeps this whole plant warmer. And if we had been able to water it the second night, it might have stayed a lot more green. But as you can see, some of the leaves did stay green, and that was partly because of the watering the first night and the water in the ground that kept putting off some heat energy for these leaves, and also because of the protection of the canopy, that these leaves help protect these inner lower leaves. These guys may actually bud and fruit, but the tree is going to be putting a lot of energy into recovering, and we really want it to recover. We really are okay with it not fruiting this year and just recovering, because this is the first time this has died back this badly. We usually don't get that cold. So we're okay. We're okay with it. I just wanted to talk a little bit about how we want to care for this tree at this point. It's important when they're stressed like this that you do water them and that you care for them. We just fed it because we have a slow release. We put some manure on it and some slow release organic fertilizer, and it won't really kick in until next month really. So we wanted to get it down so that it will have the food it needs when it really starts to take off and grow, and that we're through the frost season. We might have frost next week, freeze, but it won't be as bad as it was. So these leaves, we're going to leave on the tree. Now, some people will try to remove leaves like this, and maybe on a peach, that might make sense. But on this guy, we don't want to remove them quite yet, because if we do have another freeze, they give it some protection. So we're going to leave it like that. We're also not going to trim this back, because we don't know which of these limbs are actually dead and which of them are going to spring back with new leaves. So we want to give it some time. It can take time to show that it's actually dead. And one way you can tell is by bending. Okay, that broke right off. That stem is dead. This is dead, but this one bends. It's not breaking off right now, and you can also kind of take the bark off and sometimes see some green underneath, and that also shows that it's still alive. So not all of these guys are dead. This is kind of a lighter brown, and it's very brittle, but down here it's more bendy. So this probably is dead right to here, and this is going to spring back. So we don't want to cut off anything until we know that it's dead, and we want to keep the tree protected and let it recover, because this sends it into shock. And we just want to leave it alone and let it sit. Water it, give it some support, but basically don't shock it further by trimming it back and all that kind of stuff.